It's Champ Chat, where we discuss the best league in the world, the Championship. Oh, whose phone was that? Was that my phone?
Probably.
I don't know. Buzz. With me, as always, I've got Wedge.
Hello, good morning.
I got Phil.
Morning.
And it's a interesting end of the season with the playoffs open for business and the relegation battle. There is one spot left. 5 teams going for it. How many teams going for the playoffs right now? I think 4 that could get it.
To get those last 2?
Everyone to 9th.
Well, you got Coventry, Bristol City, Middlesbrough, Millwall.
Yeah, it's 5th to 9th right now. Yeah. Middlesbrough, Blackburn and Millwall trying to get in. Coventry and Bristol City trying to stay in.
A couple of them playing each other in the next round of fixtures.
Mad.
In Coventry versus Middlesbrough. Millwall have got a tough ask. Tough ask. They've got Burnley, who will be going for the Championship. In terms of the actual title. Of
but in all fairness, like Leeds have a very tough game as well. They got Plymouth, and Plymouth are properly on one.
Leeds still
aren't they?
have to play Bristol City as well on Monday.
Yeah, they've got to play.
Oh,
yeah, still a third fixture. Yeah,
at Bristol City.
Yeah, we can't talk about that one, can we?
No, I think it's at Leeds.
At Leeds, yeah.
Yeah.
Bristol City, if they can get a result there.
If they don't get a result, they need a result against Preston.
Yeah.
In the last game, not Preston.
Yeah,
yes, Preston.
They're playing Preston.
Yeah, Preston. Which is not good for Preston.
Yeah.
Ashton Gate has been pretty much a fortress for Bristol City. So
and Preston are just absolutely useless.
Yeah. But the thing is, like Leeds, like what I just said for Burnley, they'll not want to get up to 100 points and not win the title, or not 97 points at least and not win the title. They're going to be going for it. So Bristol City got the work cut out
as well. Like they've turned it around, haven't they? Blackburn point off the playoffs.
I thought Blackburn were going to go into a downward spiral. Honestly, I don't know what's happened. Well, Valerian Ishmael
must have got his ethos across with the help of his little parrot, Corley Woodrow.
It's the power of Woodrow. It's the power of Woodrow, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, crikey. Yeah, Blackburn. I don't know how Blackburn are in with a shout for the playoffs. It's absolutely mad.
Yeah, to have a run as long as they went on without picking up virtually any points, really. Shows you how strong they were at the start of the season, but it also shows you how... Yeah,
because they had a 6-7 match.
They
match.
didn't
They
lose.
didn't concede any goals either as well.
But it just goes to show you how harshly that cohort of teams around the playoffs, they've really struggled recently. Really struggled.
Well, that's why Sunderland, they're sitting pretty in 4th, and they've been terrible for weeks now.
And they weren't at it at Oxford yesterday either.
No.
I mean, Oxford that Brannigan's a hell of a player.
He is. I don't know how I say it every time we talk about Brannigan. I don't know how they've kept hold of him for so long. They must tie him up in a basement between matches.
Brannigan? Who's Brannigan?
Never heard of him. Yeah.
It'd be an interesting summer for them now that they've got the stability of being in the Championship again. Whether or not they can keep hold of him, because there'll be a few people sniffing around for him, I'm sure.
Yeah. But they have incredibly wealthy owners. I think some of the wealthiest owners in the Championship. But that Sunderland game, the feeling I got from watching the Sunderland players in that game against Oxford, they just look like a team that couldn't give... I was going to say a hoot. They couldn't give a hoot. They're walking around. They just want the season to be finished so they can start the playoffs.
Yeah, don't get injured, don't get injured, don't get injured, don't get injured.
They couldn't give 2 hoots. The only one that was actually having a proper go was Lafay. And he must be thinking, what is
What's going on around me? Yeah.
But that's the problem with like a young squad. It's, I don't want to say petulance, but Oxford completely dominated them.
They did.
Completely. Yeah. And Sunderland, they couldn't care. They just want the playoffs. And if you take that attitude into the playoffs, you think you can just switch it on like that, they're getting dumped out in the semi-final.
Yeah.
Whoever they're playing.
Yeah. I mean, I have to admit, I was very naive in my wishes and desires for the games yesterday, because obviously came out of Kenilworth Road and was on a massive high, and I was looking at the table thinking, goal difference-wise, Oxford are very close to us in terms of goal. If Sunderland turned them over 3-0, then we could potentially catch them on goal difference as well, which would be good for us for the final day. And then I saw how the game panned out. I was like, yeah, fair enough, Oxford, well done. my wishes and feelings can be swept.
There are enough teams. There are enough teams in the relegation.
But they're the only one that have a comparable goal difference to us. That's the problem, is that that Luton are above that dotted line rather than those that are on the same points, purely because their goal difference is so significantly worse.
Yeah.
Going back to it, it's nearly the end of our sort of first season at the OK Football Show. Matt was on our shows for quite some time during the early start of the season, and he had Oxford down as his dark horse.
I don't think he knew any other teams, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think he did sort of clarify. He was like their dark horse in terms of staying up, because everyone wrote them off to start off with.
I'm pretty sure he said they'll make the playoffs.
Did he say that?
Yeah,
I thought that he said they'd stay up, so maybe I've misremembered.
I think he doubled down. No, he said, they'll be comfortably
this season.
So, I just think we just need to sort of pay credit to Oxford and just say, look, what a cracking first season in the Championship. Well played for with one game left to spare. They're safe for next season, so good on them.
And if they can add to the squad with Rowett in charge as well, I mean, I think they're set up pretty well, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
I mean, to be fair, Rowett did really well with Millwall, season after season. So, yeah.
So do you guys want to start in the relegation scrap or the playoff scrap? We might as well stay with the relegation scrap. Talk about Preston, Plymouth. Plymouth all but relegated.
Yeah.
But mathematically. Preston doing their best impression of someone climbing out of quicksand.
Yeah.
They've just been awful, haven't they?
They just can't help themselves. They can't help anyone around them. They can't help themselves. They just consistently don't beat the teams that are below them. They've
and you see their finishing yesterday was just horrendous as well. And you know, if you can't put the ball away from 4 yards out 5 times in one game, you're going to go down, aren't you? Or be there or thereabouts.
If they scrape over the line, they'll count themselves very lucky, because they could have got themselves out of this weeks ago. And they've just consistently not helped themselves. And it's one of those ones where when you're part of a fan base that is looking at all the other results and thinking, I wonder if this person can help us out here, this team can help us out there. Preston have done nothing to help anyone. They've just consistently lost, at best drawn, against everyone around them.
They've not won in 7 games, losing 5 of them. Losing to Derby, losing to Hull, drawing with Stoke, drawing with Cardiff. Yeah. Losing to Plymouth.
Do you see what I mean? Like everyone that's below them, they've stitched themselves up against. I mean, it's Paul Heckingbottom. If he manages to keep them safe, I don't see him being manager there next season. He can't be.
No.
Like they say, that is relegation form all day long.
That is a career built purely on one promotion. With Sheffield United, he's been mid, as the kids would say, for the rest of his career. It's sort of like, I hate to bring this back to Rob Edwards, but it's kind of like that, you know, a career made out of, one promotion, and I can't wait to see where Rob Edwards goes next.
I mean,
he'll fail miserably.
He could go to Preston.
Go
to Preston.
It's local, isn't it? My geography's terrible.
Preston's way up north.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay, not Midlands.
Out that way.
No one wants to move up there. That's probably why they had to get Heckingbottom, because they couldn't get anyone else competent.
But it's if they skirt through this season, they'll count themselves very lucky. Put it that way.
And as you say, away to Bristol City last game of the season.
Yeah, and they'll be going for cementing their playoff position
if they don't already
do it by Leeds. But tough game for them on the last day of the season. But I think that we need to give a shout out to Plymouth. They've made a real good fist of it. I mean, like I say, mathematically they're not down, but realistically they are, just from the sheer goal difference, really. And they've obviously got a real tough one in Leeds on the last day of the season. But
I mean,
they've made a real good fist of it.
10.
Yeah, they've made a real good fist of it. And since they changed manager, been really quite good.
I want to shout out Callum Wright.
Yeah.
First goal he's scored since the 22-23 season.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty extraordinary for their number. I think he's number 9, maybe number 10. He's number 11. He's a striker. And he hasn't scored in like nearly, over 2 years. So fair play to him. Fair play. He thought he had one a couple of weeks ago, but it got chalked up as a lone goal. Yeah, we discussed it, didn't we? Poor guy. Elsewhere in the relegation
other one who's
battle.
dropped into the relegation zone now is Hull.
Yeah.
Again, their form. I mean, they won last weekend, but
Derby are on one.
But remember, we said it last week that they won by 2 penalties.
Yeah.
They didn't win because they're carving teams open. I know that the argument would be you've got to be in the penalty area to get a penalty, but their top scorer is João Pedro. I think he's got 6, and then Gelhardt's got 5.
And again, he's probably been suspended more than he's played as well. So.
But it's not good. It's not good, and I think that again on social media, I was having a bit of a scroll through yesterday. There's a lot of very, very angry Hull fans, and I think, like I say, they were sort of flying by the seat of their pants for the last few weeks, thinking, I wonder if we're going to get caught, and they have.
The investment's mad. The investment's been massive, but at the same time, it's kind of what you expect when your owner is literally the Turkish Simon Cowell.
There always seems to be some drama off the field with Hull.
There is, like Tan Kessler, I think that's his name, was the director of football. He had a not so amicable split with Akun. Can't think of his last name. They didn't have an amicable split at all. And then they had Tim Walters, who was awful. In all fairness, it's all gone south when they sacked Rosenior.
Yeah,
biggest mistake of the season, and it happened before
last season. Wasn't it?
Well, it was like a day or two after.
He had them one place outside the playoffs.
Yeah,
he was
balls up
for that, and then they've since then it's been a downward spiral.
Grass ain't greener.
No. And the thing is, from looking at the highlights and from hearing yesterday, I was fortunate enough to be at home, sort of watching the scores come through, and from various different sort of outlets, they were sort of saying that Hull aren't really having a go. That would have been the worrying thing for their fans, is that they had a chance to. They could have stayed. They could have got themselves safe yesterday if they beat Derby. They win, safety for the season, and they just didn't look like either. It was just paralysed by the nervousness, but whatever it was, by all accounts, they didn't play well either. So they'll be really worried. And like I said, they've got to go to Pompey on the last day of the season. Pompey, who are very, very good at home. Yes, they have nothing to play for. Pompey sitting there safely, absolutely fine. Which again, another sort of congratulations to another team that have come up and consolidated their place in the Championship and done very, very well after a really tough start. Really tough start.
And they'll be wanting to finish their first season back in on a high note. So at home,
they stuck with their manager.
They did. Yeah, great and really, really good manager. Really, really intelligent bloke.
The English Mourinho.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
John Mousinho.
Yeah. But like I say, really fair play to Pompey, and I've already tweeted that I am an honorary Pompey fan this week. This week I shall be mostly supporting Portsmouth. That's not a Pompey accent, by the way. That's a nod to the Fast Show. But I really want Pompey to do Luton a favour. It'd help the stress levels no end if they did that. But it's from Hull's point of view, it's a bit of a disaster. So just at the very end, they've gone beneath that dotted line again.
Mm-hmm. It could be perhaps that Ruben Sellers feels more comfortable in League One, and he feels he can probably rebuild a team from League One. Although he's having a go, but there's a lot of dead weight that needs to be, chucked out a Hull, and he needs to oversee it rather than just Akun being like, You'll do. Because they've had 2 windows. Well, every window they seem to churn the entire squad every single time.
We were talking in January during the transfer window when Luton weren't making any signings, and we were seeing Hull. They signed Gelhart and they brought in Matty Crooks, and we just thought, well, this is what you want from a January transfer window. And
that's what Luton did. Yeah,
and we thought, well, they're investing in staying up.
They did it last window as well.
And it's just gone the other way, isn't it? So
they bring in players and then they go straight away. Like brought in Ryan Giles, he's gone next window.
That's a Ryan Giles thing, though.
I know, yeah.
That's not necessarily a whole thing. It's a Ryan Giles thing.
He's like that Brazilian footballer that just goes from club to club pretending he could play. This was back in the
90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, 80s, 90s. He never played a competitive game. Like the world's greatest con man.
Yeah. But we'll say goodbye to Cardiff, by the way.
Bye, Cardiff.
See you, Cardiff.
Yeah.
What can you say?
Well,
what can you say?
The thing is, like, how every team at the back end of the season, at the bottom, has sort of hit form. So everyone was like, we're really bad at the beginning. And then the second half of the season, everyone's like averaging 1.5 to 2 points per game. Cardiff have been shit in the first half of the season, shit in the second half of the season. But I am intrigued to see where Ruben Colwell goes. Hell of a player.
Take him in a heartbeat, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we're not getting him.
No.
Oh, we're Luton fans, by the way. We're not getting him.
No, but I would take him in a heartbeat, just as an FYI. but yeah, very, very good player. But yeah, I think Cardiff have just. The thing is, they're going to finish bottom. Like they're not. Yeah. They're just not good.
The manager is the owner is a parasite that's rotting that club from the inside.
Yeah. I felt sorry for Aaron Ramsey yesterday because he's obviously taken charge in the final couple of games, and he said that ultimately he's a fan of Cardiff and it hurts, and it will. That relegation's horrible, absolutely horrible, but
horrible thing to throw on his shoulders though.
Throwing his shoulders right at the end. You're in charge.
Yeah, it looks like we're going down. We're going to put you.
We
in
weren't
charge
relegated before you were in charge, and now we're relegated. So bad.
Cardiff have been circling the drain for years. Though.
They have.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. There's this is why it's a real shame that Plymouth didn't get the right acquisition of a manager at the start of the season when they went for Rooney. I think that was a masterstroke. Yeah, but it's only because they sent up the team below us. Plymouth would have been a nice breath of fresh air if they stayed in the Championship, and a few of these teams that we've mentioned before that have been circling the drain for years did actually get flushed. Yeah. Like we said earlier on, we're talking about Preston. Stokes. Yeah. And there are a few teams that have been in the Championship for year after year after year. They never do anything. Never do anything progressive. They never really do anything that gets you up off your seat and think, oh, this is exciting. They've got a chance for it. And Cardiff are one of those, unfortunately, and they've finally been caught. And yeah, the likes of Stoke and the likes of Preston, if they do survive this year, need to have a look at Cardiff and kind of go, we can't have that happen. Yeah. Can't have that happen.
Nah, they shouldn't have a look at that. So just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.
And all this is being said. Like I say, we've mentioned that we're Luton fans a million times, but we've just got ourselves over the dotted line with a game to spare. It's in Luton's hands to go away to West Brom and get the job done. But equally, there's lessons to be learned for Luton as well. We're sitting here talking about these other clubs and saying about lessons being learned. Now, Luton have had to take a massive pill this season and actually kind of go, no, you can't just rest on your laurels. You have to continue to progress, even if you've been relegated from because quite frankly, it's still not done yet, and it would be hugely embarrassing if we suffer a double relegation. And I just pray it doesn't happen from my own personal perspective. But it's been a season of learning, and Luton are included in that conversation. Yeah. Whilst we've gone up and we've come up, we've settled, we've gone into the playoffs, we've gone to the playoffs again, we've gone up, we've come back down. You can't rest on your laurels in this league. It's too tough. And we were discussing about where the dotted line is and the amount of points. Usually I would argue that in the Championship you're thinking if you've got 50 points, pretty safe. And that probably is about right this season. I think that it's going to be 50 points.
Well, it could still be Stoke and they're on 50 if the results go
completely
the way. It'll be Stoke down on 50, wouldn't it?
That'd be wonderful.
Again, another one of those teams which, since relegation from the Premier League, they've just not acclimatised, and they're just
haven't even been top half.
Yeah,
no,
haven't been top half once.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Championship teams that need to take stock.
Yeah.
3 managers this season.
I mean, Cardiff are another ex-Premier League team which are going down to League One.
Yeah,
that League One is just filling up with more and more Premier League teams,
for League One. Yeah, but on the bright side, I know we weren't going to talk about it. Like the Championship, what would the Championship be without 2 Welsh clubs? Cardiff getting replaced with Wrexham.
Yeah.
But
goodbye Cardiff, hello Wrexham. The circus is coming to the Championship, as Nathan Jones said earlier on in the week. Well, he didn't say that they were coming to the Championship, but he called them the circus, which is interesting.
They are.
But Disney Plus are coming to the Championship. You can say that for certain. So
they'll get a rude awakening, Wrexham, because I was looking through their squad list earlier. Like, I think they got sell like 20 players.
They'll invest massively.
They have to.
They'll invest massively.
They have to, because like those players, the likes of Elliot Lee, Ollie Palmer, who's
even
that
Paul
bloke?
Mullins not even on the starting 11, is he? He's benched and
but
is it Sam Smith? Is
he was like he was a top end League 2 striker that they took into. Sam Smith's never played in the Championship before. No. None of them.
They'll have a lot of work to do. And also, if you're going to talk about the clubs that are joining the Championship, that are now confirmed, the 3 that went up last year. Hello again: Southampton, Ipswich, Leicester. Leicester haven't scored in like 10 games. They had a penalty yesterday. They still didn't score. They haven't actually scored.
Is Ruud van Nistelrooy still their manager?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
They've won one game in about 14, and that was against Spurs.
Yeah. He's manager until Danny Roll takes over from Sheffield Wednesday.
Did you see Jamie Vardy going to town on Leicester? I think he's leaving. But he also said like this season has been absolute disgrace. We're really sorry.
It was quite. It was poetry. Bear in mind how much of a housery merchant he is. The fact that he's gone absolutely lambasted the club and sort of like his own doesn't stink, and then he misses a penalty. It's quite funny. I have to admit. So they'll be back down. So there's a few big boys that are coming back down again. So we'll see how their summers go.
The worst three. Well, as it is, they're the worst 3 promoted.
They've got a joint. I think it's jointly. They've got 50 points.
That's awful.
All 3 of them together have got 50 points.
And people were saying like
I think
the
Burnley,
3
Sheffield
prior
and Luton was 66 or something last season. And they were the worst 3 teams.
We'll be watching keenly to see how those 3 get on, because
second year running that all 3 that have gone up have come back down again, and that's a whole different conversation that perhaps we can have in the summer about the strength of the Premier League versus the yo-yoing pack.
It's the top of the
Championship.
It's the top 17 versus the 3 that come up. It's unfair.
I mean, it's not, and it's early as well. Like there's 4 games left, but realistically, Ipswich were relegated before yesterday. They're 15 points behind with like a minus 20 goal difference worse. Like it's 5 games early, they're all gone.
Yeah, at least Luton took it to the final game of the season to be mathematically down.
But then it just feels like obviously there's all these rumours and news articles that Leeds are already considering Daniel Farke's job for next year, and even Scott Parker and things. And those 2 teams have pretty much dominated the Championship, and to think that those managers might not be good enough to keep them up in the Premier League, I think is ridiculous.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? It's like I don't know what the right words to use are, to be honest with you, but in terms of Scott Parker, that's now 3 promotions in 3 seasons with 3 different teams. Farker's been promoted, I think, 3 times now, twice with Norwich and once with Leeds. And as you said, their records in the Premier League are poor, but they've been, for example, Farker, he's not been backed by Norwich in a way during the summer that gave him a real chance at it when you consider the strength of the Premier League. Even a few years ago, let's be honest, there are big juggernauts in there you're just not going to take points off of. So the worst thing I think, and the reason why I really hope that Scott Parker in particular gets the chance to sort of prove himself next season, is he's going to be seen as a specialist of getting out of the Championship. And that's not a bad career to have, don't get me wrong, but he'll obviously have his own aspirations. He was an exceptional footballer, represented his country, played at a high level. He's going to want to be a Premier League manager. He's going to want to prove his... I think he had one disaster when he went to Club Bruges. I think he went to over there, and it just didn't pan out as a Champions League level manager.
He got derided for that, didn't he?
Yeah. But ultimately, in the English game, let's be honest, he's not just won promotion. He's romped to promotion with each of them. It's not been I wonder if they're going to scrape by on the last game. They've absolutely romped home on each and every occasion. So it'll be interesting if he gets put in that box of being a promotion specialist, and I think whether he can keep his job.
He'll do a better job than Company did, in my opinion. I think he's much more cut out because he's adaptable,
much more pragmatic.
If you put someone like Arteta as the manager of Burnley, how likely is he going to be to...
No chance.
Exactly.
No chance.
Just, he's just walked into the shoes of Arsenal because he used to play for Arsenal. But
he's got good players. He's obviously done well.
Scott Parker, you put him in charge of Arsenal, they'll probably do on par as what Arteta's done.
There's
I mean,
also,
you can also you can see Parker's got a great coaching brain, and I watched a few of the videos when they had promotion confirmed. You can tell that him and the boys have got a really good bond, and there's a good tight knit unit there, and I think that is probably, I think they're in a better position this promotion than they were under Company to give it a go with Parker and staying up.
It'll be interesting to see whether Burnley match his aspirations, because I think there's going to be some big jobs coming up this summer with teams that. Yeah. So, for example, he played for Spurs, didn't he?
He's not getting Spurs.
Why not?
Because Ange always wins something in his second year, mate.
It doesn't matter. He's gone. I don't care whether
they've had a terrible season.
Doesn't matter if you win the Europa.
I don't think it matters.
16th in the Premier League.
I don't think it matters. I think
I'm surprised he's there.
I even think if they get beaten by Bodo Glimt, I think that Spurs have got. If they get beaten in the first leg of that 2-0, I reckon he's gone for the second leg. I genuinely he's that bad.
You think they'll get Mourinho in to try and win some silverware?
Yeah, they'll do it the other way.
Yeah.
Just the one game before the cup final,
rather
than one game after. Yeah.
Hilarious.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer, and like I say, I think that those guys that are confirmed to be going up, it will be really unfair for the likes of Farke to lose his job. But I think if he's given backing and given a chance, then he could probably do a decent job. But like I said, it all goes back to in whose place, who out of that top 17. I mean, Wolves have just won 6 in a row.
Yeah,
they've overtaken Man United and Spurs in the league now.
Oh no! Right.
I mean,
it's so funny.
But that's
so
the thing.
Funny.
Those 3 teams that are coming up, are you realistically going to sit here and say that Man United and Spurs are going down in place of Leeds and Burnley? You're not. No. So it's a hard task for Leeds and Burnley. And like I say, wish them all the best though.
Yeah,
wish them all the best, because in their own different ways, they've had great seasons.
Yeah, and fair play to all the teams that have gone up and have been shuffled into the pack.
The Brentfords, Bournemouths.
Fulham's now as well.
Yeah.
Brightons.
Yeah.
They've done miraculously well.
Yeah. Bournemouth's story is slept on, by the way. I know that they've invested in the last few years, but
it's about the managers. Like it's the appointment of the managers. Like Iraola is fantastic. Now we're getting to the realm of Premier League, but I feel if someone nicked him, Iraola, then he did a great job taking over from Parker, by the way. If someone nicks him, I reckon Bournemouth sink a little bit. But then they'd just bring in the next person off the conveyor belt, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So it's the way.
You look at their squad, they've got good players. Really good players. Justin Cliver, Evan Nilsson, Kirkes at the minute. They've got that Howson at the back. They've got a good team. And even if you go into the FA Cup, Crystal Palace just pumped Villa 3-0. I mean, again, unbelievable. And that's an ex-championship player in Ismail Assar that scored 2 goals yesterday. Yeah. Eza played for QPR. And he scored an absolute worldie yesterday. Sorry, I'm digressing from the chat, but it's all right. But the Championship is the greatest league in the world because it produces players and managers like that.
Absolutely.
What do they say? Is it born or is it raised in the EFL?
Raised in the EFL. In all fairness, we talked about all the games that actually had significance in terms of the top and the bottom, and we even talked a little bit of Premier League. So I think that's us done.
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff, and all set for the final day. And
final day,
we'll be here live at the Bricklayers Arms. We'll be doing a Luton Town show, but we will also be talking Championship because all the games happen at once. Yeah. It's wonderful. It's a feast of football, and we'll be looking at who's going down, who's made the playoffs, and then it's going to be fun watching the playoffs from a neutral. Will be. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I just
whether we care or not.
I'm just so tired. I just want Luton to finish above that dotted line and just sleep for months. It's been such a stressful season.
I think it's become more stressful in the last 6 weeks than it has before.
When I was accepting League One, it was all right. But now there's a bit of fight and it's been exhausting.
It's a long week to wait now for that final game. But thank you to our host, Bricklayers Arms. Come on down if you're in Luton for a day or a connection or whatever. It's right by the station. I've lost my bearings. Right, it's right over there. It's there. Really close. Stone's throw or a brick. Depends how strong your arm is. And check out the record shop in Amersham. They sponsor this pod. Wherever you are in the country, and if you collect vinyl, head on down to the record shop. They are fantastic. They got tons of vinyl, CDs, guitars, and a big thank you to our audio partners, I forgot who he is. Black Star. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, it's Black Star and Carry On for the toys that make this pod happen. But most importantly of all, whoever you support, have a great week.
Enjoy the
Take
last
care.
week. Yeah.
Last game week. Take care.
See you later.